Unlock the secrets behind your everyday decisions with our deep dive into the top 8 cognitive biases that cloud your judgment. From confirmation bias to the bandwagon effect, learn how your brain tricks you into making irrational choices and how to overcome these mental traps. Whether you want to improve your decision-making skills, avoid costly mistakes, or simply understand why you think the way you do, this video breaks down complex psychology into easy-to-understand insights. Watch now and start thinking smarter today. Confirmation bias, seeking facts that support your belief. Confirmation bias is our tendency to search for, interpret, and recall information in ways that confirm our pre-existing beliefs or hypotheses. When we have formed an opinion, we unconsciously filter information to support our position while dismissing contradictory evidence. For example, if you believe a particular political candidate is dishonest, you're more likely to notice and remember news stories that highlight their scandals while overlooking positive coverage. This bias can lead to polarized thinking and prevents us from making objective decisions based on complete information. Dunning-Kruger effect, the unskilled overestimating their ability. The Dunning-Kruger effect describes how people with limited knowledge or competence in a domain overestimate their own knowledge or competence in that domain. Those who know the least often think they know the most, because they lack the metacognitive ability to recognize their own incompetence. A classic example is someone who takes a basic photography class and suddenly believes they're qualified to be a professional photographer. Conversely, highly skilled individuals tend to underestimate their abilities, assuming that what comes easily to them is also easy for others. Sunk cost fallacy, continuing a venture due to past investment. The sunk cost fallacy occurs when we continue investing time, money, or effort into something simply because we've already invested significantly, rather than evaluating whether future investment makes sense. We irrationally throw good money after bad, because we don't want our previous investment to feel wasted. A common example is staying in a movie you're not enjoying because you paid for the ticket, or continuing a failing business venture because you've already spent thousands on it. The rational approach is to make decisions based solely on future costs and benefits, not past investments. Anchoring bias, relying too heavily on initial information. Anchoring bias is our tendency to rely too heavily on the first piece of information we encounter, the anchor, when making decisions. This initial information serves as a reference point that influences all subsequent judgments, even when it's irrelevant or arbitrary. In negotiations, for instance, the first price mentioned often becomes the anchor around which all other offers revolve. If a car salesman initially quotes $25,000, you might feel good about negotiating down to $22,000, even if the car is only worth $18,000. This bias affects everything from salary negotiations to judicial sentencing. Survivorship bias, focusing only on successful outcomes. Survivorship bias involves concentrating on the entities that survived a selection process, while overlooking those that didn't. We draw conclusions from success stories without considering the failures, leading to false assumptions about what causes success. A famous example is analyzing successful entrepreneurs like Bill Gates or Mark Zuckerberg, who dropped out of college, concluding that dropping out leads to success, while ignoring the thousands of dropouts who never achieved anything notable. This bias makes success seem more achievable, and failure rates appear lower than they actually are. Availability heuristic, overestimating the importance of information. That is easily recalled. The availability heuristic is a mental shortcut, where we estimate the probability of events based on how easily we can remember examples of them. Recent, emotionally charged, or frequently reported events seem more probable than they actually are. For instance, people often overestimate the likelihood of plane crashes compared to car accidents, because plane crashes receive extensive media coverage and create vivid memories, even though statistically, flying is much safer than driving. This bias can lead to poor risk assessment and decision-making, based on memorable rather than statistical reality. Fundamental attribution error. Judging others on character, but yourself on circumstance. The fundamental attribution error is our tendency to attribute others' behavior to their personality or character, while attributing our own behavior to situational factors. When someone cuts you off in traffic, you might think they're a selfish, aggressive person. But when you cut someone off, it's because you're late for an important meeting or didn't see them. We have access to our own thoughts, motivations, and circumstances, but can only observe others' actions, leading us to make character-based judgments about them, while giving ourselves the benefit of situational explanations. Bandwagon effect, adopting beliefs because many others do. The bandwagon effect is the tendency to adopt beliefs or behaviors because many other people have done so. We assume that if something is popular, it must be correct or desirable, often without critically evaluating it ourselves. This effect drives fashion trends, investment bubbles, and political movements. People might support a candidate who appears to be winning in polls, buy stocks that everyone else is buying, or adopt opinions that seem widely accepted in their social circles. While social proof can sometimes be useful, blindly following the crowd can lead to poor decisions and prevent independent thinking. Understanding these cognitive biases helps us recognize when our judgment might be compromised, and encourages more deliberate, rational decision-making processes.